Thank you.
Thank you so much for this really powerful film. This is your first fiction feature, and your previous films have been documentaries, portraits also of women's lives. And I wondered if you could start by telling us why this portrait of who I understand is your cousin, the main subject, why you wanted this to be a fiction, a narrative fiction.
I wanted to do a fiction. My first contact with cinema was with fiction films, and I discovered documentary very lately in the School of Cinema in Belgium, and I also discovered the history of documentary film, how documentary film establish some ideology of domination. And when I discovered that, it was also for me a tool of deconstructing my gaze, because I'm coming from Cameroon, a colonized country by France, and for me the documentary was a tool of deconstructing, and it's helped me also find the way I wanted to do the fiction film. And yeah, I wanted to return in my first desire of cinema, which was to do fiction. And also, maybe you can ask me, you can say that I could have done a documentary of Mambar Pierrette, but there was a lot of things that was not visible in her daily life, like I show it. The political part was not so visible, and I need the fiction to make it visible. Yeah.
Will you say a bit more about that and the process of developing the script and the story? Was this collaboratively done with her, and conversation with her about her life, or how did you figure out which parts like this that you wanted to include that weren't really part of her life, as you say?
Pierrette is my cousin, and all the people except the clown and one of the friends of Pierrette, the rest is my family, and it's also part of my story. And telling the story of Pierrette was also telling the story of a generation of women of my family, and I'm part of those women. And yeah, I was seeing the consequences of in the political action in the life of Pierrette, but in her daily life we not usually see it. And the fiction helps me to construct my story in the more large way by really pointing that, because it's also my domain of work, of questioning that. I was, like you can see, I grew up in that neighborhood in the modest condition, and I wanted to question what is the result of that condition, what is the origin of that, why Pierrette and the member of my family are in those conditions. I wanted to question that when I started to do cinema, and yes, doing fiction helped me to go beyond the reality of the people that I film. Yeah.
So much of the film is a really beautiful kind of detailed focus on her work. But then also beyond that into these rituals of care and repair. And yeah, can you speak a bit about the way that you filmed these, her, just her cleaning and dealing with the flood, and how you kind of choreograph these scenes with her.
It's like I said, it's the deconstructive way, because there is an imaginary of how Africa has to be, but sometimes people say that people are lazy there, so we say it in French, très long, and I wanted to take the time to show the hard work of people, and really. It's also by telling story, I'm also deconstructing what I usually think was my imaginary or was my story, but those imaginary and those story was telling by a dominator, and by showing Pierrette working, I show how I usually saw my mother work, how I usually saw people on my family work. To say that we are in that condition, not because we are not working. Those people are in those conditions not because they are not working, because they are something beyond that. And it's what I wanted to show also by taking time to show how she worked, and you really show that work and take time to show it. And yeah.
And I think another really beautiful, subtle detail in the film is these recurring negotiations with everyone around money. We see her go to the house of this woman and give her dresses, and it's clear that she has resources but is still trying to get a deal, and all of these kind of relations with people who are clearly kind of close to her, but still everyone's trying to negotiate all of the time. Can you talk about including that?
We are prisoner of that money, because it's not our money. That money, it's created in France. It's the colonial money, and when I take time to show that money, it's like it is. We say it in French, the chain. Yes, we are prisoner of that money. It's not belong to us. We work hard to have it, but it cannot liberate us. It cannot give us what we really want. It's the freedom that is to create not our own money, but to think by ourselves. Is that, and in all the film, I really also show the rest of that colonization, how we are bounded by that. And yes, we are prisoner of that money. We are working hard to have it, but there is something. It's like when we have it, it's already gone. It's already finished. It's already lost. And yes, because it's not belong to us. It's a rest of the colonization that, if we really want to be free of that, we have to break those chains. We have to change it. We have to remove it. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about the looming figure of the mannequin as well, outside of her shop. Can you talk about that?
I didn't write about it. I didn't wrote about it. I discovered it because when the last time I saw Pierrette, there was another mannequin, and I didn't write. When I come to shoot the film and I saw this mannequin, I said to myself, I have to put it in the film. And I passed the rest of the time of the shooting by writing all night about the mannequin. And the neutrality of the color was really good for me, because I wanted to put a lot of things on the mannequin, a lot of kind of domination that Pierrette faces in her daily life. Not only the colonial domination, but the patriarchal domination, but the administrative domination and the local political domination also. And I wanted to put all of it in the face of the mannequin because even the husband, I'm not showing the husband, the face of the husband, because it's not the problem. It's not the main problem of Pierrette. It's not her husband. It is something more than that. And I want the mannequin to carry it all. Yeah, all those kind of domination. Yeah.
The scene where she invites her friend, who's very sad, to go dancing with her is so beautiful and expressive of kind of how she gets through. And I wonder if you could speak about that scene.
For me, it is her way of crying. The dance is, for me, a way of releasing. In Cameroon, we are not crying like that. We are dancing or singing when we cry. You can see my aunt. She's crying by singing, and for me it's a way of crying or releasing all. And I don't know how we call it in English, la sueur. Yeah, it's crying for me. It's the way how she really release all the tension, all the pressure. Yeah, for me it's that.
Mm-hmm. And she invites her friend to do that. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I want to open up to questions from the audience as well. Oh, there's one over here, and we're going to bring a mic to you. So 1 second.
First of all, I want to tell you that film is very beautiful, very expressive, even tantalizing at times. And I have 2 questions. One is, I would like to know, what is the time frame? Is this film happening within the last 10 years, or is this film happening 15 or 20 years ago? And I'm going to tell you the next one so I can sit down. And the next one is, I'm a percussionist, I'm a musician, and the dancing scene, which was also extremely lovely and tender, I would like to know what that rhythm was. Today is very important to me. I would love to know the rhythm. Thank you very much again for a beautiful film.
Thank you. I didn't understand the second question, but I will answer the film. For me, it's now. It's now. I wanted to show the Cameroon, the young people in Cameroon now, today. And it's not something that I really imagined 10 years ago. When I see the film, I see now. I see Pierrette now in Cameroon. I see all those people now struggling, fighting, living like that today. It's really now. Yeah. And the second question,
I think it's about what was the music in the dancing scene?
The music, we call it Bikutsi. It's play in the center of Cameroon. I really grew up with that music. And in my neighborhood, it was a really popular artist neighborhood where there was music, but there was also a lot of artistic things happening. And I wanted to really bring those memories of my childhood also, because I think it's how also my desire of doing an artistic work came from. It was in my street, looking at people dancing and singing, and I wanted to show that, to express that through the music,
Is there another question? It's hard to see. Yeah, I think there.
Yes, lovely film as well. I'm really glad to have seen it. I want to know, how did you structure, when you wrote the script, how did you structure it? Because it's not the typical one act, two act, oh, she got a problem and now she solves it type of screenplay. At the end, it was like it's like all the time frame of it is like weeks and weeks, but it seems like her circumstances has not changed, not like in a typical screenplay. It's just like she is still working, she's still trying to make a living. How did you structure that? How did you structure the screenplay to reflect that, to not reflect just, oh, one act, two act, three act?
Yes, for me, I wanted, when I was thinking about the film, I want people to just be drop in the reality of Pierrette for a moment, and after that get out and with the frame, the last frame, and take that distance. And yes, I wanted to not install and to introduce people to Pierrette, to just drop them, because when I have the sensation that when I go back in Cameroon, I'm just in the life of people, and I always like that sensation to be introduced, but to be immersed and also surprised by some energy, and I want people to be drawn by that energy of Pierrette, and it's how I really imagine the film, and when I was edit the film, I really have an experience of feeling something when I was shooting the film, and I really, even now, I don't know how to express that feeling, but I really wanted, when I was edit the film, to be focused on that feeling that I experienced during the shooting. And it's how I really organize the screenplay, but there are so many changes of what I really wrote, because my experience of doing documentary really helped me to be open to what can happen when I screen. There are many things that I didn't write, but that I introduced in the film, because it was so connected to the reality of Pierrette that I just have to take it like it happened. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more? Okay. So everyone out there. Okay, I think they're already going back there, sorry.
Thank you so much. This movie was incredibly moving. And I was struck by how Pierrette, everything she did was with loving intention. And I'm just looking at the picture that's on the screen now, and there was a scene where we saw that picture, and it reminded me of Vermeer's portrait, which I think might be called The Seamstress or The Sewer, and I was wondering if you somewhere unconsciously or consciously referenced that.
So she's referring to this image, and there's a painting by Vermeer that it reminds her of, and she wondered if that was in your thinking at all.
No. No. No.
I think we need to leave it there. But thank you all for your questions, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.